It's been a long time coming. From the initial trailer, to the absolute disaster of a gameplay reveal, to the floodgates opening and the eventual realization that the boys in blue might have actually done it for once, Sonic Frontiers has the already rabid fanbase frothing at the mouth for November to come. But if you don't like or know about Sonic, chances are you're thinking something along the lines of, why the hell are people excited for this shit? Hasn't every 3D Sonic game ever been bad? If that was you just now, then you are the subject of today's video. Strap in and get ready to go faster than ever. My name's Brandon, and this is why people are excited for Sonic Frontiers. 5 years ago, Sonic Forces came out. Normally when Sonic games come out, they're mostly trash, but have enough glaring issues that it's easy enough to spin another meme cycle to keep people talking about the franchise. This is pretty much how Sonic has survived of late, being one of the only corporate brand Twitter accounts to somehow never really overstay its welcome, making fun of games like Sonic 06 at every opportunity, etc. Modern Sonic kind of turned into a self-deprecating meme machine. To make matters worse, even the games came across this way. We had gone from plots and storylines that were ambitious and sought to breathe new life into the franchise, though the end results were often just outright cheesy and lacked quality control, to simple ones made to make Sonic as palatable as possible. In a weird way, Sonic games in the 2010s seemed like Sonic Team was trying to make up for the cardinal sin of having had ambition. Gone were the world adventures, gone were Sonic's friends, and gone were the plots involving Eggman using mythical creatures to take over the world. It was just Sonic and Tails versus Eggman and his mechs. A complete shift to be sure, but considering the quality of Sonic games at the time, it was a welcome one.
This fucking bullshit! I can't get off! What is this? I can't get off! What is this?
To be clear, I'm not saying this was bad. Quite the opposite, actually. This new direction ended up being the palate cleanser people needed after Sonic's rep had been in the dumps. Colors being more of a kid-friendly slapstick story, with the dialogue being just jokes and easy meme screen caps, made the game the perfect jumping on point for new fans. Doubly so due to the game being very easy and not taking advantage of the 3D boost formula at all. Again, these are not bad things, but they were a sign of things to come. Because the next 3 games stuck with this style, mostly just for the worst. Generations was the exception to the rule. It had a lackluster story, but it was forgiven as the gameplay had made significant improvements to the boost formula over Unleashed in Colors. Levels were fun and open-ended, Sonic felt better to control than he did in previous boost games. It seemed like things could only go up from here. And then, for some reason, they just made Sonic Lost World. Here, to me, is where things started to crash and burn. The super jokey style of dialogue was starting to get grating. It was tiring having the plot set up these huge moments and twists only to cop out minutes later, and overall it just felt very underbaked. But to me, that's not even the worst part. They completely changed the gameplay formula. Sonic now walked by default and had a button map to run. He had access to a spin dash and a parkour system that just kinda felt weird to use. Generations got a pass because the whole point of the game was nostalgia pandering, but they at least went out of their way to make the levels fun. Here we have awkward platforming in locales that seem to rely heavily on nostalgia pandering, but also really seem to want to appeal to the Mario crowd with weird ass gimmicks. To put it bluntly, deviating from the boost formula for this Mario Galaxy ass shit made no sense to me. I don't like this game, and that's really all I have to say about it. To me, the sentiment seemed to be echoed, and Sonic Team looked like they took it to heart. Sonic Forces, the last Sonic game before Frontiers, was advertised as a sort of return to form, complete with a more action-oriented story where Sonic would fight against old enemies in an all-out war to take back his planet from Eggman's clutches once and for all. What was released was probably the most mid-3D Sonic game of all time. The game was mostly technically and functionally sound, but it was marred by strange gameplay design decisions like bringing back classic Sonic through some weird Sonic Mania tie-in no one wanted or even cared about, poor level design that failed to acknowledge what people even liked about the boost formula to begin with, and a story that just...
I still dream that Sonic is with us. Do you think he might be...
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist.
Oh, wow. The end, huh? Let's see you try something now that I'm free.
People were fine with a more jokey, lighthearted Sonic, but not really when the game wasn't advertised to be that. People went into Sonic Forces expecting a more serious Sonic game due to the advertising, and what they got was an attempt at a serious Sonic game written by the guys who were hired specifically to do short, gag-based narratives. The thing is, Forces was a disappointment, but more than anything, people just didn't feel anything towards it. People didn't want to meme about it, people didn't really care about modding the levels to improve them. After the masses were done ripping this game apart for free YouTube clicks, people were just content leaving this game to be forgotten. And I think Sonic Team took that personally. The first we heard of Sonic Frontiers was a 4chan leak. The leaker claimed to be someone who playtested the next Sonic game, and it was open world with linear levels sprinkled all over the map. For most people, this was a death sentence before we had even seen the gameplay. Sonic Team had jumped the shark, that was it. The worldwide gameplay reveal from IGN seemed to echo this. Empty landscapes with designs and gimmicks reminiscent of Sonic games, but nothing to do. Rudimentary puzzles that, say, gave the player an item or something, but nothing that really seemed to take advantage of Sonic's gameplay and abilities, and absolutely nothing about the linear levels, which people were rightfully concerned about, considering it had been a few years since Sonic Forces and the level design was probably one of the worst things about that game. Also, Sonic had like a combat system now? It was like they had taken Shadow's gameplay from games like Sonic 06 and slapped it on a neutered boost formula. It wasn't a good look. People wrote the game off, but the developers remained steadfast in their faith in it. Izuku would even go so far as to say that people just didn't get it yet. Even though the IGN first footage was later revealed to be an old build of the game that wasn't even the build IGN was given to playtest, people didn't have much hope. It felt like we had skipped over the Sonic cycle and straight into bad games, dead franchise territory. Maybe Sonic would be better off in movies and shows after all. Those seem to capture the spirit and essence of the character better than the games. And then they started doing public playtests. I'm sure the developers weren't exactly elated at how quickly people were recording and uploading footage, especially considering that at the first public playtest, people had taken advantage of the demo setup saving your progress, and a few bugs, to get way further in the story than the demo was supposed to go. This led to the security at the booth being ramped up, and them no longer allowing people to record footage of the game, a policy that Sega would continue to hold at future playtesting booths. Of course, people continued to find ways to record footage of the game. But here's the thing. Reception for this game has been positive. Very positive. Like winning an award at Tokyo Game Show for the first time ever positive. Reportedly, Sonic Team has completely shifted their development cycle purely for this game. Where other games were developed for yearly releases, Sonic Frontiers has had a 5-year dev cycle with playtests every 3 to 4 months to collect feedback, which, in hindsight, is probably how info about the game got leaked so early. As of late, nearly everyone that has gotten their hands on the game has sung its praises, and it brings so much more to the 3D Sonic formula that, on paper, I can kinda see it. The marketing has been very adamant about calling it an open zone game rather than an open world game, and honestly, looking at the gameplay, I kinda get what they mean, even though I know it's really just a buzzword. The world is designed like one giant 3D Sonic level. You can literally pick a point in the distance and not only get there in record time, but wind up doing a crazy ass platforming challenge and actually finding stuff that helps you on your objectives. Like, look, there's this one giant emerald structure in the sky, and you can actually get there. Trying to scale this structure is like a whole level in and of itself, with branching pathways that encourage you to use Sonic's revamped traversal abilities to find different goodies in different spots. Speaking of which, Sonic has a whole new moveset that's like a greatest hits album of all the things people liked about 3D Sonic. The boost is back, but it's been completely reworked. Now it's stamina based and no longer plows through enemies or small obstacles, meaning that you are not only encouraged to boost more, it is also less safe, meaning you have to actually strategically choose when the best time to boost is, but you'll always have one ready. To put it another way, where previous boost games were all about finding the best routes to keep the boost going as much as possible, Frontiers' boost seems to be more about giving the player the freedom to use their boost in a way that best suits their playstyle. In a weird way, it's kinda closer to what they were going for with Sonic Lost World's run button. But the boost isn't the only thing that returns. The drop dash makes its first appearance in 3D Sonic, the bounce bracelet is back as an unlockable upgrade you get after completing a main story objective, and the lightspeed dash is not only back, but there are no longer designated ring lines for it. The homing attack has been revamped and you can now do it without jumping, giving you a way to get right into the action when it's time to fight. To top it off, Sonic Team has perfected Sonic's control in this game. And by that I mean they said, fuck it, do it yourself, and are allowing the player to fully customize Sonic's control and handling, letting every player approach the game in a way that fits their playstyle. Also, the revamped combat. You do have access to basic punches and kicks after homing attacking an enemy, but he's got a new bag of tricks up his sleeve. The new silent feature leaves a trail of blue behind Sonic at the press of a button. You can surround enemies with this blue trail and then close the loop to stun or launch them. You can use it for objectives, making small loops in the ground will grant you some rings. There's a lot of neat tricks and hidden secrets you're going to get for using it. I can't speak for the other moves because I haven't played the game yet, but I think they look fun and cool. However, it's not all sunshine. Reception to those linear cyberspace levels seem to be rather mixed. Some people have been very critical of these, and for good reason. The levels have been stated to use level designs from previous games, recreated and remixed for Frontiers, and your control adjustments made for the open zone are not carried over to cyberspace. But personally, I don't give a fuck. I have played and replayed so many Sonic games at this point that I would be remiss to actually complain about them recreating level layouts for bonus challenges. To me, the fact that these layouts and assets are recreated and not necessarily reused tells me that this is not laziness, but an intentional design choice that will probably make more sense when people actually get to digest the story. Sonic Frontiers comes out in about a month, and I'm fucking ready, dude. Like, come on, look at how long this video is, dude. The game ain't even out yet. Sonic Team has put so much more effort into this game than usual, and while there are some minor issues that I haven't mentioned, such as some graphical problems, I'm very confident in saying that we're in for a good time if the only thing people playing a Sonic game can complain about is the pop-in. Thanks for watching. If you're huffing that hopium like I am, drop a comment and tell me what you're excited about the most. Like and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more, and follow me on Twitter if you like the sound of my voice. See you guys in November.